The plane shuddered violently, engines roaring like thunder in the clouds. 16-year-old Emily Hayes gripped her armrests, her heart pounding as alarms blared from the cockpit. The captain's voice had cut off mid-sentence over the intercom. Passengers screamed. In that frozen moment, Emily knew something was terribly wrong, but she never imagined she'd be the one to save them all. Emily Hayes was just an ordinary girl from a small town in Ohio. She lived with her parents in a cozy house on Maple Street, where the summers were hot and the winters blanketed everything in soft white snow. At 16, she was tall for her age, with straight brown hair that she often tied back in a ponytail. She loved reading books about adventurous stories of explorers and pilots soaring through the skies. Her dad, Tom Hayes, was a mechanic who fixed cars at the local garage. He had always dreamed of flying, but life got in the way. Instead, he shared his passion with Emily, taking her to air shows on weekends. One sunny afternoon, when Emily was 12, Tom surprised her with a gift, a flight simulator game for their home computer. "This is as close as we get to the real thing, kiddo," he said with a wink. Emily spent hours on it, learning the controls, practicing takeoffs and landings. She got good at really good. Her friends at school teased her about it, calling her Captain Emily, but she didn't mind. Flying made her feel free, like she could escape the everyday worries of high school drama and family bills. Now, 4 years later, Emily was on her first big trip alone. Her aunt in California had invited her for the summer. "It'll be good for you," her mom, Sarah, had said, hugging her tight at the airport. "Just relax and enjoy the flight." The plane was a large passenger jet, Flight 247 from Cleveland to Los Angeles, carrying over 200 people. Emily sat in seat 14B, by the window, watching the ground fall away as they climbed into the blue sky. She felt a mix of excitement and nerves. The relatable problem in her life was simple. She was shy, often doubting herself. "What if I mess up?" she'd think during tests or presentations. But up here, in the air, those worries seemed small. The flight started smoothly. The captain, a kind-voiced man named Captain Reynolds, welcomed everyone aboard. "We'll be cruising at 35,000 feet, he said. "Sit back and enjoy." Emily munched on pretzels, listening to music on her headphones. Beside her sat an elderly woman named Mrs. Thompson, who smiled and shared stories about her grandchildren. Across the aisle, a young family laughed together, a mom, dad, and 2 little kids. The cabin hummed with quiet conversations, the soft whoosh of air vents, and the distant rumble of engines. Sunlight streamed through the windows, painting everything in a warm glow. Emily gazed out at the fluffy clouds below, imagining herself piloting through them. It was peaceful, almost dreamlike. About an hour in, things changed. A flight attendant hurried down the aisle, her face pale. Whispers spread like ripples in water. Emily pulled off her headphones just in time to hear the co-pilot's urgent voice over the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated. We have a medical emergency in the cockpit." The plane dipped slightly, then steadied. Passengers exchanged worried glances. Emily's stomach twisted. What if the pilots were sick? She remembered stories from her books of planes in trouble, heroes stepping up, but that was fiction. This was real. Minutes ticked by slowly. The cabin grew tense. A man a few rows back stood up, demanding answers. "What's going on?" he shouted. The flight attendants tried to calm everyone, passing out water with shaky hands. Emily felt her palms sweat. She thought of her parents back home, waiting for her call when she landed. The relatable problem hit harder now, feeling helpless in a crisis. She wasn't a hero, she was just a kid. But deep down, that flight simulator training nagged at her. "You know the basics," a voice in her head whispered. "Controls, altitude, speed." Suddenly, the plane lurched again. Alarms wailed from the front. A flight attendant burst from the cockpit, tears in her eyes. "The captain had a heart attack. The co-pilot is trying to help him, but he's not responding." Panic erupted. People cried out, holding each other. The young mom clutched her children close. Mrs. Thompson grabbed Emily's hand. "Oh dear, what do we do?" she murmured. The plane began to descend unevenly, the nose tilting down. Oxygen masks dropped from above, swinging like pendulums. Emily's mind raced. No one else seemed to know what to do. The flight attendants were trained for service, not flying. In that moment of chaos, Emily unbuckled her seatbelt. Her legs felt like jelly, but she stood. I know a little about flying," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The attendant stared at her. "From simulations. My dad taught me." It sounded crazy, even to her. But there was no time. The attendant nodded frantically. "Come with me." They rushed to the cockpit. Inside, the captain lay slumped over the controls, unconscious. The co-pilot was performing CPR, his face slick with sweat. Instruments blinked red warnings. The plane shuddered, losing altitude. Emily slipped into the captain's seat, her heart thumping like a drum. The controls looked familiar from her simulator: yoke, throttle, pedals. But this was heavier, real. "Mayday! Mayday!" The co-pilot gasped into the radio before collapsing himself, exhausted or worse. Air traffic control crackled back. "Flight 247, this is Tower. What's your status?" Emily took a deep breath, grabbing the headset. This is Emily Hayes, a passenger. The pilots are down. I'm 16, but I think I can fly this." There was a pause on the other end, then a calm voice. "Okay, Emily, I'm controller Mike. Stay with me. We've got you." Rising tension built as Mike guided her. "Level the wings. Pull back gently on the yoke." The plane groaned, but steadied. Passenger screams faded to hushed prayers. Emily's hands trembled on the controls. She glanced at the altimeter at 20,000 feet and dropping. Wind howled outside. Clouds whipped by. "You're doing great," Mike said. "Now, reduce thrust. Easy does it." Emily adjusted the levers, feeling the plane respond. But doubt crept in. What if she crashed? Lives depended on her. Mrs. Thompson, the family, everyone. Hours seemed to pass, though it was only minutes. The plane stabilized, but fuel warnings flashed. They were over the Midwest, far from lax. Mike directed her to the nearest airport. "Denver International. We'll clear the runway. Emergency teams standing by." Emily's mind flashed to her dad, his proud smile during simulator sessions. "You got this, kiddo." Tension rose as turbulence hit, shaking the cabin. A child wailed. Emily fought to keep control, sweat beading on her forehead. Altitude dropping too fast. Mike warned. She pulled up, muscles aching. The gentle twist came softly. Emily realized she wasn't alone. The passengers' fear had turned to hope. A flight attendant relayed messages of support. "We're praying for you," one said. As they approached Denver, the sky cleared to a brilliant sunset. Runway lights twinkled below like stars. "Flaps down, gear down," Mike instructed. Emily followed, her voice steady now. The plane descended smoothly, wheels touching pavement with a gentle thud. It rolled to a stop amid cheers from the tower. Fire trucks raced alongside, but no flames erupted. It was over. Passengers erupted in applause as Emily stepped out of the cockpit. Mrs. Thompson hugged her tight. "You're our miracle," she whispered. Medics rushed in for the pilots, both alive, thanks to quick action. Emily's phone buzzed later. Her parents, tearful and proud. "We saw it on the news," her dad said. "My little captain." In the days that followed, the world called it the miracle in the sky. Emily became a hero, but she stayed humble. "Anyone could have done it," she said in interviews. "I just remembered what I learned." The emotionally grounded ending came as she returned home, hugging her family under the Ohio stars. She knew life would change. Scholarships for flight school, maybe a real pilot's license. But the insight was simple. Courage hides in ordinary moments, waiting for us to step up. We all have a bit of hero inside, ready to soar. If Emily's story inspires you, why not learn something new today? Take a class, try a simulator, or face a fear. You never know when it might save the day.